Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. We are talking retirement living with a whole bunch of guests in the studio, two of them from Revera Retirement Living, including Lydia Miller, the Director of Sales for British Columbia, and from the Kensington in Victoria, Amber Reese, the Executive Director, is with us, and we're all joined now by Jackie Laverick and Phyllis Wicken from Still on the Hill. You are relocation and transition specialist downsizers. Phyllis, talk to us a little bit about the process, because Jackie referred to it a few minutes ago, and once we sort of talk the emotional levels down to a manageable level, then you can have a conversation on that initial meeting with your senior client. And Jackie said, Phyllis, well, but then we apprise the client of the process and start to walk them through it. So share the process with us, if you would, please.
Sure, no problem. Well, first we get the call, and at that point we make a meeting. We walk in and say our hellos and get to know each other. It's all about relationships, as I've stated earlier.
Yeah.
And, we pay attention, as Jackie was saying, to how the person's living. Are there impediments? Are there health issues? All of this.
Dietary requirements, all that stuff.
The dietary, not so much on our part.
I guess
think that's
right.
more the community, retirement communities. But, we do remind them to eat lunch.
And which in some cases isn't always an automatic, which is one of the reasons boomer kids get a little concerned.
Yes.
Mom isn't eating as well as she used to and needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
very true. Yes.
So you remind them about lunch, and then please carry on.
Yes, we remind them about lunch, and then we're off to the races. So at that point, we really, Jackie will normally sit and have a more one-to-one, and I'll be running around and measuring and photographing and things that we need to come back and be our reminders for the important things, and also for later when we're, having items sent to auction or whatever, which I'll get into. But
okay.
After we have done our initial hellos and gotten all of the information we need, we basically set up a plan. And the plan is, where they're going to, their destination, the time frame that it'll take us to come in and pack and get into their product or their possessions in terms of, is this going, is this not going,
mm-hmm.
right? And so that gets a little sticky.
Oh, I can imagine. Gets a little emotional too, huh?
True. But the floor plan is kind of that, it's like this springboard.
Right.
Because it's kind of our guide to keeping them on track, because we know this sofa, this chair, this dresser, this shelf can fit. Sometimes we help them as well with maybe purchasing a new item to accommodate these things that they maybe can't, like a special collection.
Right.
There's things that, they just need to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Once we kind of get through that, we recommend family and friends, of course, where they want certain items to go. And the ones that, maybe family doesn't want the tea set, or whatever the item is.
Right.
And friends are like, oh, no, we're good. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, we discuss auctioning, we discuss donations, we discuss consignment, and then, anything else that's left over. We can be creative. We've hosted garage sales up in Whistler.
Uh-huh.
Jackie mentioned Craigslist is very popular.
In Whistler, yeah. It's more of a smaller market up there. It's very different from us down here. There's not as many places to take things.
Sure.
And it's a very environmental market. And I just want to point out that what our services also does, and what we benefit that people seem to not realize, is the environment. We don't walk away from a house and it goes to landfill. All those little bits can go somewhere.
Right.
And this is an important difference, because people will a lot of times look at their garage and go, oh, this is all junk. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, no, you know what? There's an industry that can use that, and there's a resale value to that.
Right.
And we can find these people for you. We have a lot of contacts and experiences and people that we've, gotten to know, and we know where things can go.
I guess, Jackie, in the case of clinging to the stuff as a reason or an excuse for inaction, it goes away at least once they've talked to Amber and they've got that floor plan. As you mentioned, Phyllis, suddenly now there's a definition of what lies ahead. Mm-hmm. So when you get to the stuff, it's that small suite is not going to take the contents of a 3-bedroom house.
Exactly.
So we've got to divest ourselves of a fair bit of this stuff. And since a reluctance to lose or to have any of it go away was the initial defensive point. Okay, so they've kind of abandoned that, but they're still really clinging to the stuff. Does it help when you and Phyllis talk about donations.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
rather than just tossing it in some dustbin somewhere or having some truck take it away, you could give it to the Salvation Army or to St. Vincent de Paul or
Yeah.
to any number of really happy charities, women's shelters, any of those places. Suddenly, that stuff that is, is so important, even though you don't quite know what you want to keep it for,
Right.
if it translates into something positive, then that's a step forward too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We find that, a lot of the people that we work with are Depression era children and war era children. And the worst thing you can say to them is it's all going into the landfill or it's all going into the dump. And when they know that it's going to be used again, or that it's going to a good cause, or that, someone is going to be able to,
Sees
keep
value.
it, it makes all the difference in the world to them.
And that's the great generation, and that's who's mostly in my buildings right now.
Absolutely.
What they've been through, the Depression, the World War II, everything has value, and for them to see anything wasted is a shame. So one of the things that Revere is very proud of that we launched last year, it's a program called Ages More, and it's all about celebrating seniors and mature adults, right? Their lives, their history, their experiences, how they've helped shape the world, what it is today. And with that, we partnered with an organization called Real Youth, Sterling, and you wouldn't believe some of the light bulbs that went off after we had, these teenagers.
These are budding filmmakers,
yes,
aren't they?
They're budding filmmakers that were assigned a project to come in to one of my buildings, actually in White Cliff.
Oh, okay, sure.
And I guess there were about 10 or 12 videos that were made, and they were about 3 minutes each, and they were paired off. The students were paired off with a resident.
Did they have a choice of who they were paired off with, or were they just assigned a person?
They were just kind of assigned a resident,
good for you.
Good. And these were sort of ambassadors, but they had wonderful stories to share, wonderful experiences. And when they first met, it was like, being at the dance, that first dance. It's like, okay, seniors on this wall, students on the other wall, and let's not make eye contact, because then I have to talk to you, and I don't know what to say.
That's right.
I'd encourage people to have a look at our website. They actually have a story. They show the videos, but they actually show the making and the interactions between this intergenerational moment between these 16-year-olds and these 86-year-olds. It's actually pretty beautiful, and it's amazing to watch, so I'd recommend that.
So if we went to ReveraLiving.com, we would be able to see these videos?
You absolutely. It's under the Ages More Real Youth campaign.
Okay, and these are all like vignettes. They're only like 2-3 minute long shorts, right?
Yeah, and they're well done. The youth filmmakers should be very proud.
Right.
Yeah, they are very proud, and they celebrate it. They thought it was just awesome, an awesome experience. It's like talking to seniors now is no longer scary. They look forward to it.
Well, it's funny because we all have grandparents, and we all have seniors in our lives, but not as many of us are as connected to the seniors in our lives as previous generations have been. And in some cultures, the presence of seniors in families is more dominant than in others. And so, it's great to see kids kind of stretching a little bit and making the big connection with the big generation.
And the seniors too. I think that was one of the things that came out, is that the older generation was commenting on what a beautiful, enriching experience it was to actually reach out. And
they're not freaky kids with
they're
purple
not freaky
hair.
kids with skateboards, and there's a comment in there about dyed hair and skateboards. So no, it was enriching on both sides.
Well, and also, and speaking of enrichment, you at the Kensington have done the learning process.
Yeah,
You've
keep
started
learning.
a whole series of lectures, and intellectual stimulation is as important as those workout sessions that you organize for them as well, isn't it?
Bottom line, people move to retirement living to keep living and keep enjoying life. Enhancing lives is what we're all about.
Right. Well, Phyllis, when you talk to people, you and Jackie go out to meet a new client for the first time. Talk to us about some of the anxieties that are expressed. Again, beyond just fear of the unknown or fear of doing something different, fear of leaving the address you've had for the last 35 years. What else do they say?
Well, I think a lot of it stems from feeling they're not going to have control. And I know that's another type of fear, but it's a really valid thing where someone else is coming in and they're going to be touching all your things, right? That's scary. And, we do our best to make them feel at ease and just see that it's just, we can only do what we can do, and we come in and we offer suggestions. A lot of times it takes them a bit of time sometimes to agree or not agree, and that's fine because it's their thing, it's their home, and their choices, and we're not there to take that away, nor can we. We basically just come in and help them figure it out.
Jackie, does it surprise you sometimes when you go to start helping a person move and prioritize things that they're going to take with them to Revera or give away or just toss? Does it help sometimes when they discover, or you discover on their behalf, holy cow, you get a lot of dough for this. Can we sell this for you and maybe raise a little unexpected money?
Yeah, absolutely. They love to hear that. They love to hear, okay, something that they thought wasn't useful or valuable is now going to bring in some money and someone else is going to use it, right? So, yeah, they love that.
And you were talking earlier about, these are the children of the Great Depression. They are not given to throwing things out. They grew up with nothing.
Absolutely.
And they're very partial to possessions and the value of things.
And they don't want charity.
No, not at all.
No.
Jackie?
One of our very first clients lived in, I think it was a 12,000 square foot house. And out in, where was
Cloverdale.
that? Cloverdale.
Oh, Aldergrove. I'm sorry, Aldergrove.
Aldergrove.
That's a big home.
Huge, right? And we weren't able to throw away even a paper clip in her house. And this woman who had everything, a big home, she was very wealthy, and she was downsizing actually to a 3,600 square foot home.
Okay.
And
which many of us would still consider quite large.
Wow, that's bigger than mine.
Right? She literally would save her pantyhose to tie up her paper recycling with.
Okay.
I mean,
That's why she's wealthy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's also the ethic of that generation.
It is.
Nothing,
throw it out.
nothing
Still
is
usable.
wasted.
Yeah, you don't throw anything out.
Actually, if I can interject, this is the same client where she had a lot of, she crafted a lot. She was very, very industrious. And there was a fair amount of fabrics and knitting and all of this type of, art supplies. And it made her, she was able to let go of things. And this answers your question before of how we do this.
Right.
We had to be creative. That's not something that, we're going to auction.
Right.
But there was an inner city school that we know of, and we liked to bring them items. And that they were a larger school, and they're able to have storage, so the other inner city schools come and collect product from them. So we hooked up with them, and they're one of our go-tos when we have items like this, because it's great. And they wrote a letter to her, said, thank you so much. This is going to help so many kids in kindergarten and this and that. And that was great. And then with some extra wool, we even went that to some different seniors community centers, because again, they like to knit, and wool is expensive.
Made it easier to give away.
She was thrilled, and they were thrilled to get it,
Phyllis,
too.
So many times we hear stories, and you make people's day. Companies like yours, Downsizers. We had a woman move in just 3 weeks ago, and she was of the silent generation. And for her, she had worked so hard to accumulate her dishes and her glassware. And that's not an easy item to offload these days, as we all know. There's an organization in Victoria that actually sets up houses for disadvantaged female youth, and they set up a house for her using her items she couldn't bring with her. They took a photo of this young girl in her new place enjoying the dishes and glassware. Both are very, very happy, and that really made the day of the resident.
Well, again, it's turning a perceived negative into a tremendous positive. Need to take a quick break here. We're back with lots more on Boomer Life after these messages on AM 650.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.